we're going to hear Steve Sarkisian, the Texas head football coach. The Longhorns head out on the road for the fourth straight week. They haven't been home since late September. It's been a minute. They'll travel out to Starkville, Mississippi, the Cowbells. But Sark was asked yesterday because not related to what went on in the Eastern District in New York yesterday in Manhattan, and the charges, the two separate indictments, sweeping sports rigging allegations and a poker scheme. On Wednesday, the NCAA Division II and Division III management councils followed the lead of the Division I council and are now allowing new rules for college athletes that are now it's okay to completely fine to bet on professional sports starting November 1st. So you still can't bet on college sports, but you can, by all means, bet as an athlete on professional sports. Prize picks. You can't illegally gamble, but if it's legal, you can do it. And again, this is still we talked about this yesterday with college basketball. Louisville allowing a player to play who played in the G League. And again, the NCAA is unwilling to take a stand on things and make rules because they get sued and they lose.
Right.
It really is. I mean, that's where the federal antitrust ask has been out there for a long. I mean, they're trying to get something through that would give some exemption. And the point of why would college athletics want an antitrust? Well, once you have that, you can put rules in place and you can't be sued for it. It's how baseball operates as a monopoly, and the other sports operate as a monopoly in their industry, which is against the the laws of our system. But the Sherman Acts and others. But at the same time, they have antitrust exemption, so they are allowed to operate. They're given the freedom by the government to operate illegally. Essentially, is what that means. And college athletics, now that it is professional sports, is asking for the same coverage so that they can put rules in place, and you can't sue me for it. Sorry. It's just our rule. But the rub for college athletics and college athletes is they don't collectively bargain, because the way that the professional sports get around it is they negotiate and they collectively bargain with their players. And the players have a seat at the table and have a say on what rules they agree to and don't agree to. College athletes don't have that. So the NCAA it's more and more swung back to the player empowerment side, and the players have all the they don't have any rules now, and it's upset the apple cart. It used to be completely the other way. The pendulum has swung. Well, Sark was asked about this yesterday, and Sark has been on the record before this decision that came down this week, and he's completely against it, and he'll explain why. And I think it makes a lot of sense, and it makes it really tough on coaches and programs to monitor. Here's Sark on the point blank question about this new allowing college athletes to bet on professional sports.
I didn't see all from the NBA perspective, so that's a little bit difficult for me to answer. I can touch on our stuff. I totally disagree with the NCAA on this, and I was very vocal about it. Here we are in an era where we have revenue sharing, NIL, publicity rights, and so the players now have money. So now let's give them the freedom to take that money and gamble it away. That makes no sense to me. When we're in a space of educating young people, and part of educating young people is what to do with their money, and to say, okay, now you can gamble on pro sports, to me that does not make any sense, from a logical standpoint. And again, this isn't something that I've been shy about. I've been very supportive of the other side of it. It was a lot easier before for us when they couldn't gamble at all, because that was an easy way for us to educate them, and that was an easy way for us to penalize them and do the things that we need to do. Now we do have to put guardrails up. Now we do have to manage this from a simple standpoint of, well, I'm allowed to, so how can you tell me I can't? And so now it's more about education, even more education than we were doing before. But I'm disappointed in this ruling that this is what we decided to do with our young people when they could be doing something really substantial in their life for their own life and for their families' lives. And we're giving some, not all of them are going to gamble. Okay, so let's be clear about that. They're not all going to gamble, but some are. And is that what we were trying to accomplish with this? And I get it. It was probably hard to police before. I think it just made it even harder for all of us to police now. That, well, he's on DraftKings. Well, what was he gambling on? Well, if they just can't be on DraftKings at all, then we don't have to worry about it. But now we have to dig deeper to figure out what is somebody gambling on.
All right, so there's Steve Sarkisian with a very candid thought on this, and it's interesting because look, they are making dollars now. Right. But as we talked about a little bit ago with the NBA situation right now and Chauncey Billups, this has been going on. I did a radio show for 20 years with Bucky Godbolt, and Bucky was at Boston College. He went to college at Boston College, played football there, and he was at Boston College in the 70s when they got hit with the gambling scandal. If you've seen the movie Goodfellas, that's a part of it, because this is what criminal organizations do. They try to make money in illegal ways, and one of those ways, if we can entrap a kid who got caught at the frat house getting over his skis, well, now we got him,
right?
And especially if he's a basketball player, and if he knows a basketball player, or we can get a basketball player who's in debt to us because he was gambling on the Celtics games, or the Patriots, right? Which. What goes on in frat houses? They gamble, they make bets, so that's been going on forever.
Yes,
inside on college campuses, drink and gamble, chase women. That's that. I'm not saying they all do that, and they're all. I'm just saying it goes on college campuses. So to suggest that just because they play basketball or football or they don't get caught up in that, and they don't hang out with other college kids who are
having
doing
a good time in college,
and and of course. The mafia, the mobs, they're going to go where people are spending money,
right?
Where they think they can get their hooks into somebody,
where they can manipulate,
especially a kid like that,
right?
Who will, you can make that money back if you'll miss some free throws in this basketball game and let us know about it. We're running the numbers. Okay, well that's an easy way out, but then you're always hooked, and that's happened to you. Point being, one of the reasons I think it doesn't happen as much in the professional sports is they know it's against the rules and it's not worth their livelihood to ever get involved in it. The penalty is so more severe because they're making so much money. This is what they do. It's why the Chauncey Billups thing, it's impossible to understand how you would get into this. Or Jonte Cook, how do you get caught here? But gambling is a real thing. You get caught up in it, you get to the wrong people, they've got you. You'll do whatever they say, or you and your family are in danger. But for Sark, you see his point. Like, how do you tell our kids not to? Because they're going to say, well, I'm 21, I can go have a drink.
Yeah.
I can go make a bet.
Right.
Well, be careful. Don't get, caught up into the wrong people. Now, there is an argument that Sark's best and these college coaches' best argument is, look, man, you're making NIL dollars now. You could see back when they weren't making any money that maybe that was a way to make some quick dollars, make quick $10,000 on missing some free throws for the Boston College game. Well, now I'm making that 10 times that now in NIL, so that isn't worth it. But again, it's going to be an issue. It always has been. But I think Sark said it very well, that it's just going to be more policing that we have to do and education that we have to do behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think going back to what you're saying, just in nowadays, right, with the money they're making and also just the exposure that there is, right? Every game there's a broadcast for. You're under such a microscope and people are noticing this more. It's more alarming. There's more red flags when, hey, what's going on here? It's not games that are getting pushed to the side or you just have to be in attendance for to actually witness what's happening. You got NBA Pass, an example, ESPN Plus, everything is broadcasted and there's document of it. So when something's fishy, I feel like it's a lot more flagged, which is a good thing.
Well, that's the positive of it, right? And, more light, the better.
Right.
You turn the light on in the kitchen and the roaches
here comes
scattered,
the bugs,
right?
yeah.
I mean, that's what you want.
You got the bugs.
They're in there, but
not
then,
the shadows.
But again, think about what Sark is saying. I mean, now we can all see the effects here, right? I mean,
right.
You're a college basketball player, a college football player, and now you have players who are your teammates are now playing in the NFL, and you can get on to DraftKings or their Prize Picks, and you talk to them all the time. Hey, how's it going? Oh, this guy's hurt or this is happening. You have inside information that other people don't get.
Right.
Because player X is now playing in the NFL, and he knows certain things, and you're just talking to his friends like you always do. And now if you have access to it and you're allowed to do it, it's like, well, that's an easy win right there. Or whether it's a prop bet or it's a bet on a game, you have inside information. That's what was going on in the NBA. Those guys have insider information that no one else really has unless it gets out in the public. That think about you can have so many sports examples, but the one that jumps to mind is the Alabama baseball coach who he knew that on a Friday night, he's got one of the best baseball jobs in the country. He's made it. He's coaching in the SEC at Alabama. He's got a good team. They're playing a series this weekend with LSU, and they're coming in with a kid named Paul Skeens, and he knows how good Paul Skeens is. And then during the week, and then that Friday, he realizes his starting pitcher hurt his back or something, and he's not going to pitch. But he's not going to announce that to LSU. You won't find that out till Friday. But he calls his buddy in Ohio and tells him, who then goes down to the racetrack and makes a bet, a heavy bet. Like I think the reports were $300,000 on Alabama to lose. So pick LSU, And, there's text messages from the coach, and, hey, this is going down. Kid's not going to pitch. You might want to pick LSU tonight because they got Paul Skeens on the mound, and we might get a hit. Right. And they, of course, lose the game. But that's a terrible story, and it's why Alabama's baseball coach is no longer Alabama's baseball coach, and he got fired, rightfully. But the only reason he got caught is it was red flagged. The Ohio Gaming Commission said, wait a second, nobody ever bets on college baseball. And now they're making a huge bet on one college baseball game in particular, like 3 states away or 4 states away. We got to go into looking at that. And that's when they looked into it, found the messages, traced it back to the coach, and the coach got fired. So there is policing, but you just don't want any of your student athletes to get caught up in that, but you can see how they could. If you do like to gamble and you like to wager and you've got that adrenaline rush and the dopamine rush that comes from it, and, now all of a sudden you're talking to your buddy who's in the NFL and he gives you some scoop. What are you going to do with that information?
Right.
This is the slippery slope we're on. But it's just you got to educate them. You got to talk about it. Open dialogue, open conversations. Don't do that. And I'm assuming there'll be Sark will have gambling addicts and people in to explain this to the locker room, just how quickly this thing can spiral out of control. And what we just heard yesterday in the Eastern District will be used as a case study. Like this guy's, because the saddest part of the indictment, because I remember when Jonte Porter was flagged for this. We said, this guy doesn't make much money. He's just out of the G League. Why would he risk this?
Right.
Well, the indictment makes it pretty clear he had to. He was forced to do it. Like, he didn't want to do it, but the mob said,
you're going to do it.
Do it or else.
Or else, right.
And so he knew, but what is he going to do? And you can find yourself into that situation pretty quickly if you get involved with the wrong people and you get yourself in debt to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And, we know that the mob is a pretty, what's the adjective here? They know what they're doing, so yes. They'll use people that you think are friendly, that are their people, to get you set into this, and you just think you're gambling with the guy at the frat house.
And like you said, you're hooked,
and they got you
for life.
Yeah.
If you're tied,
you get one couple payments behind to the guy who you think is your buddy, who's actually he's already owes the mob or whatever, and so he's working for them already, so he's working you. That doesn't take very long. No. A couple of missed Sunday bets, and all of a sudden you're in the world of heart, and you think, well, it's just my buddy, he'll let me slide. No, actually, he's got a guy upstairs that you owe money to. That's the slope, and obviously we can all imagine it, and it can happen really quickly. The Chauncey Billups thing, I don't know. I don't know how you make $106 million in your career, and you're making $5 million to coach the Portland Trailblazers, and you get caught up somehow in a organized poker ring. Rigged poker ring. That is, I guess he got caught up with the wrong people.
He must have, right.
He's just got a real problem.
Either that or, problem.
Because it appears that he was scamming his own friends. He was the one, he was called the quarterback. He was organizing these and inviting people to these poker games.
He would take dives, they said, too, just to make it seem more real.
Yeah. He was completely in on it.
It was completely in on it. Obviously didn't win every single time to make it look more real.
And we're talking about people lost upwards of $7 million.
Well, and then, which I think, the timeline-wise, then he later on goes into coaching. Is he trying to make some money back because of that? Because he's only been the coach of the Trailblazers, what, Jack, 3 years, 4 years? It's only been a few years.
Well, again, we've had these whispers for a long time.
Right.
The Michael Jordan debate about when he retired from baseball for 2 years, and not long after his father was killed on the side of a road in North Carolina. Phil Mickelson was in Hawk, reportedly one of the reasons he took the live dollars was he wanted out. Again, those are all subjective, or they're all speculative of what we're talking about, but they've been out there. I do think the fact that there is now legalized gambling and it's more prevalent and there's more policing is actually a good thing, because these things get flagged and these things do get rooted out more, because you will not convince me ever that just it's all happening now because it's legal. It's been going on way back to when I saw Boston College in 1977. This has been going on with the mob for a long, long time. I think you'll see it flagged more often now. And as I said earlier in our discussion about the NBA investigations and indictments, I would imagine if you talk to somebody in the mob, they would tell you it's gotten harder to run numbers and do this and rig games and do things like we've always done.
More eyes on it.
Now it's more, a lot more eyes on it.